And now it is time to welcome our second guest in a segment we call Dog Mom Biz. The fabulous Mary Tan is a public relations, digital communications, and marketing expert, and she is the founder of Whiskers Media, which specializes in visual storytelling for organizations and businesses in the pet industry. Mary's working with a lot of companies that are on the cutting edge of the industry, and she joins us now from Chicago, Illinois. How are you, Mary?
Hi, Karina. Thanks so much for having me. I'm actually in Minnesota, but I'm not that far from Chicago in the grand scheme of things.
Thank you for setting me straight. I appreciate that. You're in another cold place. I used to live in Minnesota.
Oh, you did? Oh my gosh, yes. It's you know what? We haven't had any snow here yet, so that's kind of amazing. It's almost December.
Wow, I started my news career in St. Cloud, Minnesota. What part of Minnesota are you in?
What? I'm in Buffalo, which is a suburb of basically like 2 suburbs over from Minneapolis.
Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, before you know it, people will be ice fishing and all those fun things, snowmobiling. I love it. Minnesota nice. So I bet you fit that bill too, Mary. That's right. All right. Speaking of nice, we love our animals. We love our dogs, our pets. So where did your love for animals come from?
You know, it's so funny because, you know, when your parents tell you like, oh, you can't do something and then you rebel and you want to do it.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of my story. My mom and dad, they were actually immigrants from Indonesia. And, you know, their pets are not a big thing there. It's not like it is here in the United States. And so they always told me, no pets, no pets, no pets. So what did I do as soon as I was out on my own is I got a cat, and then I got another cat, and then I got another cat, and then I got a dog. And now we're where I am today. I've always loved animals. I have 3 cats and a dog. And, you know, really love working and volunteering in the animal rescue world as well.
You have such an interesting professional background. So I want to hear all about it. I believe you worked in news and then were a public information officer, and now you're running Whiskers Media. So how did all this come about? Kind of walk us through in a nutshell your story.
Yeah. So basically, since I was in college, I started out as a music performance major, and that's what I actually went to school for. But then I decided my senior year that I didn't really know what am I going to do with a music performance degree. I mean, it's not. I was a classical musician, and so there were only maybe 12, 15 positions in the whole world to be a flautist in a symphony orchestra. And so it just so happens that I like to write, and I met a local news reporter in Madison, Wisconsin. And he said, come see what I do. Ended up doing an internship there, and the rest is kind of history. And, you know, my music performance background kind of led to like doing some reporting and anchoring and that sort of thing. So it was a nice transition. And so I did that for 13 years, and I was always the crime reporter. I used to say, if it bleeds, it leads. If you're dead, I'm live. And
can't we just go to the Humane Society already? You know, like, can't we just switch it up a little bit today? News director or executive producer?
Exactly. I always got pigeoned as a crime reporter. And you know, the main reason why was because I had the ability to get victims' families to talk right after they lost their loved ones, and so
warm and loving. Yes.
But I really wanted to do stories about animals, and they would never let me. And then it just got, you know, anybody who's in news, and you probably know this too, you're working nights and weekends and crazy hours.
Yes.
I just got really sick of it. And then here in Minnesota, they would put me on the freeway when there's a snowstorm, and you're like telling everybody to stay home. But in the meantime, you're standing out on the freeway
Do
amazing.
not do what I am doing in this moment. You stay inside. In the meantime, I might suffer from hypothermia at any second. It's crazy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So was there a moment when you said, okay, enough of this, I'm going to go in a different direction and pursue one of my greatest passions, which is animals? How did all that come together?
Yeah, so my contract was up with the TV station here in Minneapolis, and then it just so happens that a local suburb, the city of Brooklyn Park, had a public information officer slash communications manager position opened. And I had known a lot of people there because I covered crime. So I worked with a lot of people in the police department there. So that's how I ended up in Brooklyn Park doing public information office stuff. And you know what? I was there for another 13 years, and I called that job the Golden Handcuffs because it was a very nice, cushy government job.
Oh,
But
you're loyal. You're loyal. And then you said, how can I make my passions and my experience come together? And ta-da, Whiskers Media, right?
yeah, exactly. And so basically, I'm working at the city and I'm like, I need another creative outlet. I love
Yes.
to write about cats and dogs and different things. So that's how Whisker Media started. And it started as a side hustle. And then basically, I was volunteering at our local animal shelter here, and a public relations manager position came open at the animal shelter here. And if anyone knows in animal welfare, it's very difficult sometimes to make a livable wage. Well, this was like the only job in the upper Midwest that was PR for animals. So I applied for it, and then I just I ended up getting it, and the rest was kind of history. Then I worked at the Humane Society for 5 years. And in the meantime, Whisker Media was just taking off. And during the pandemic, it was crazy. I had potential clients coming my way left and right. The pet industry is amazing. It's just,
Yes, and so many people at that time were, because they were at home, were saying, I want to adopt a pet, or I'd like to get a pet, and then they need products for their pets, and then those companies need support. So I can see where you would have been really busy. Was it almost overwhelming?
yes, it was extremely overwhelming because I was still doing a full-time job at that time.
Yeah.
And then, I left a year or two ago because I just couldn't handle doing two full-time jobs. It was crazy.
Sure.
And even now, it's like, there's so much pet product innovation out there that there's more and more companies. It is a difficult and competitive business to be in, but I tell you, if you have an idea, if you have something that is an amazing product, it will work. I mean, there's so much room. There's so many challenges with animals in a good way. And there's so many problem solvers out there. And I think that's what's kind of keeping me going with different people reaching out to me all the time.
That's great. If you had to distill it all down, I mean, what would you say is your primary mission?
My primary mission is 100% helping homeless animals. And that's always been the mission of Whisker Media, but it has been a little bit refined. So in the world of pet ownership, cats and dogs are not actually equal. Dogs are the alpha pet. Dogs are what bring in the money for most pet product companies and animal welfare groups. Like if you watch animal welfare group ads and social media and stuff, you'll see a heavy emphasis on dogs, and that is for a reason, because studies have shown if a person sees a dog, they're going to donate. If a person sees a cat and they're a dog person, they're not going to donate. But a cat person will donate if they see a whatever animal. And so that's why it's very dog heavy. I don't know if you remember the ASPCA, the Sarah McLachlan.
Oh, of course. Yes. And I hear the song in my mind as soon as you say that. Oh, right. arms of the angel. Okay, go ahead. You could play
Yes.
to it and I could sing. We could have something really awesome going on here, Mary. Oh, of course, I remember those commercials. They stand out, which is probably an excellent example of marketing from your perspective.
Yes, because I counted, there was like, I think there was 2 cats and like 14 or 16 dogs. And
Mhm.
that's very representative of the pet industry and the animal welfare side of things. And so what I've discovered is cats are really second class pets to a lot
Mhm.
of people. 60% of cat owners never take their cat to the vet. It just doesn't have the same level of ownership. A lot of people think cats are more expendable and that sort of thing. And the main problem is cats, can live outside, and they live a life outside, and they need to be spayed and neutered. If everybody spayed and neutered their cat and all of them got out being
That's
neutered,
Louis
that would
Armstrong, Michael Scott Sullivan right now, Mary. That's my buddy, Louis. He's probably hearing someone outside. Who knows? Maybe some kids that want to play with my kids. I don't know. It'll probably calm down in just a minute. I want to talk to you, though, about education. You're such an advocate for educating dog owners, cat owners. What are some of those teachable moments that you like to focus on? You probably like to teach me and remind me to make sure that Louis cannot bark during an interview right now.
no, I mean, dogs and cats are going to do what dogs and cats do, and let them be dogs and
Right.
cats.
True.
You know,
He's so
yeah, I mean, one thing I really, really want to stress to people is when you see an animal in a shelter, that behavior is not necessarily representative of what that animal is going to be in home. So, for example, you might see a dog or cat hiding underneath a blanket or shaking in the shelter. Well, you know what? A shelter is a very stressful place for an animal, and some animals cannot handle it well. And so, a lot of times, you might see this totally scared animal in a shelter, but when it gets home, you're going to see its personality bloom. The true personality of an animal isn't going to come out until you get that animal home.
That's good. What advice
There's some animals.
should we maybe talk to, say, some of the vet techs that are there, or that may be more in touch with the animals, or who are maybe able to observe them when a lot of people aren't around? Do you have any advice for us on that front?
Yes, absolutely. Talk to the shelter staff that
Yes.
no animal is like. A lot of times, a lot of shelters have behaviorists. So
Mhm.
here in Minnesota, a lot of them are vetted before they go to the adoption floor. And sometimes you can tell, like, this animal is going to be so sweet. It's just scared to death. Um,
Yes.
on the other side, if you have a jumpy, mouthy animal in shelter, that's probably a representative of what they may be like when they're stressed at home as well. And that might be just a playful thing too. They might just be completely happy. But a dog in that case would not be good for somebody who's, elderly or has balance issues, or a toddler, that sort of thing. So you really, really have to, don't judge a book by its cover, is what I'm trying.
Good reminder. I love it. Do you have any other tips or advice if dog moms watching right now are considering adopting from a shelter? Anything else we should keep in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one thing that a lot of people talk about. When somebody calls a shelter a killer, that is the most awful thing you can do and demoralizing thing you can do to a shelter. Now, most animal shelters are public institutions. They're run by municipalities, and they're open admission shelters. Most shelters mean that no matter what, they have to take that animal in. And to understand the difference between animal rescue groups and shelters, they're completely different things. And there's a lot of I think there's a lot of infighting in the animal welfare world, and there's this issue of who's more compassionate. And so you really need to know who you're adopting from. So, if you want to know a dog's behavior, and you want to know what a dog's behavior like is at home before you take a dog home, your best bet is to adopt from an animal rescue where that animal is in a foster home. You are willing to give a home and try out a shelter animal, those animals actually need you the most because they're the ones that are probably more used than ones that are in a at-home foster situation. And then don't forget, rescues can pick and choose the kind of animals they want to take in. So for example, you've got Great Dane rescues, you've got Beagle rescues. They are taking specific kinds of animals. These municipal public shelters don't option. They have to take all of them by law and give a safe haven. And so if you can adopt from a shelter, you are really, really saving lives. You're always saving lives if you adopt from a foster as well. But unfortunately, shelters, especially, in areas of the South, where they're not as sourced as here up in the North or in the Northeast or the West Coast, there's just so much people really need to understand.
Yes, I really appreciate you breaking down the differences there. Super, super helpful. Tell us about your team at Whisker Media. I know you have a fabulous team, and also what are some of the products and client services that you offer?
Yeah, so I have a gal that works for me, and she is actually, this is a funny story. This is a great story. She is a French gal who I met when I was on a cat advocacy tour of Greece. Trying to persuade Greek influencers and government officials to try to do a process called trap, neuter, return. It's called TNR. It's the only way to reduce feral cat populations. In Greece, unlike the US, it's horrible what's going on with cats. There's a million stray cats in Athens. And in a lot of these countries, they don't believe in spay neuter because they feel like that's taking the manhood or the character away from the animal. So
you have an overpopulation problem, and that's where Mary steps in and says, "There's a better way, a different way."
Yeah, so you were talking about my mission before. That has kind of slid into my mission, is to help TNR, folks who do TNR, and support the people who do that, because that's just hard work trapping cats. TNR, I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but TNR stands for trap, neuter, return. You trap the cats humanely with some really, really great smelly fish and
lure them in.
Yes, and then they go into the cage, the trap shuts, you take them to the vet clinic, whoever does low-cost spay neuter, and then they get spayed and neutered. And here in Minnesota, we're so lucky because we have a shelter here that spays and neuters cats who are unowned for free, which is amazing. And that's kind of like a new, more and more animal rescue groups are offering that. And as well as low-cost spay neuter for dogs as well. And low-cost veterinary services are so needed. So anyways, I met Alexandre there, and she's just wonderful. And then my client base is, oh my gosh, I feel like I have the best client base because I only represent companies I believe in and nonprofits. So I represent Pet Partners, which is the national animal registry for therapy animals. And I do all their publicity. They just came out with this amazing study that was underwritten by Cat Person, the cat food. It's a cat-human bond study. It's the first human bond study solely focused on cats, because most of them are focused on dogs. And then I have everything from a brand new supplement manufacturer, Therapeutics, started by this guy named Rob Kovler, and he's wonderful, and he's got 30 years of experience and really knows what he's doing in that space. To everything to Companions and Animals for Reform and Equity, which is a national nonprofit looking to diversify the animal welfare industry. So just a whole bunch of different clients. And then one more client I have to give a shout out to is Moose's March. Moose was a pit bull who died of cancer. And so his mom started a pet cancer awareness nonprofit, And the goal of her nonprofit is to support people whose animals have cancer, and also to give grants to pet owners who cannot afford that cancer treatment. And you know, when a pet has cancer, there's not necessarily a lot of support out there. And you know, she's trying to bring people together, you know, people who have pet cancer patients, you know, and supporting each other. And so she's just launched recently and is really trying to work with the veterinary community to help with that as well.
I love that. Taking something hard and then learning from it yourself and then helping to make a hard situation easier for others. That's beautiful. About giving back and making strides, and got all the feels. Mary, that's
Yes,
great. Oh
exactly.
my, we learned so much too. I mean, even when you just ran through that list of clients, I'm thinking, wow, Mary, what an exciting profession where you just get to learn and grow and meet really amazing people and travel the world. That's pretty cool. I know that you represent, you know, different clients with, you know, pet products that they're putting out there. I'm really on the cutting edge, as a matter of fact. So what are some of the problems or the issues that you see in the industry, maybe that haven't been solved yet? I mean, there could be an opportunity, right, for people out there.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many opportunities if you're an entrepreneur in the pet space, because animals have a lot of problems and not all products work for all animals. So I personally believe that there's an opportunity out there to solve a problem for a niche set of pets. So for example, a lot of my clients, I have one client in particular, Boss Nation, which is a company that runs Boss Dog and Boss Cat. It is a really premium, high quality line of raw products that are infused with probiotics, because there's a lot of animals that have gut issues. And so, you know, as you know, the immune system is in their gut. And so this company has done a ton of research on stomach issues and what animals need. And what's interesting is they have a wonderful yogurt. They're known for their yogurt and their goat's milk. And it's all organic, and it's just really high premium products. And so the products that I represent, I have to use myself. I have to like the product. I have to believe in the product, because the one thing I don't want to do is represent something that I don't believe in just because I want money, just because I need, you know, you need to pay the bills, but I don't really feel that you're really being an authentic PR person if you don't believe in what you're promoting.
And you really want to put helpful and valuable information out there. And in the end, I think the good comes back to you. Don't you, Mary?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I have to tell you, you know, some of my clients don't actually have a lot of money to pay me. And so you know, I kind of use my for-profit side to help finance the nonprofit side, because I really believe in doing both. And, you know, ultimately my goal is to help dog moms and pet moms in general, like, understand, you know, you need to understand what you're feeding your animal. There's a lot of pet products out there that are not good for your pets.
No.
You know,
and you actually mentioned raw food in one of your clients, and you know this. I mean, that can be kind of a hot topic of debate: the raw food versus the kibble. Do you have a certain camp that you side on? Are you more drawn to raw for pets, or where do you land there?
So this is my philosophy. So not only, I actually have 2 raw food clients, but on the other hand, I also represent a group called the Two Crazy Cat Ladies. They're wonderful. They are naturopaths for feline health. And what I have discovered through my own issues with my own pets is that I don't believe in saying that's bad and that's good, because animals are very different. So Franklin, my cat, has ear issues. He actually has a bacterial yeast infection right now in his ears. And I actually started feeding him a raw diet, and it cleared up. And now my vet
Good.
that I work with hates raw diets, and so they were like, "What? But
What are you doing? Right.
then she saw the results, and now she's like, hmm." So my philosophy is that you should take the best of all the different worlds. So take the best in holistic medicine, take the best, in traditional medicine, and that goes for food and everything. And do what works for your pets, because their processed foods can be very inflammatory for your animal. There's no question about it. And so that's when a raw diet comes in. But on the other hand, a raw diet is so expensive.
Sure.
And so if your animal, and if you have a limited budget and you can, and you maybe you can only afford to feed, the processed diets, which are approved, you want to make sure that they're all labeled AFCO, which is the American Association of Feed Control Officials. So that you want to make sure that it's nutritionally balanced, and just make sure what you feed is balanced nutritionally, and then make that based on what your cat or dog can tolerate.
That's great advice. Do the best you can with what you have and educate yourself. Do your homework and really know what you are actually giving your pet. Awesome advice. What is next for Whisker Media?
Well, my next plan is I really want to help, especially small pet businesses and small animal rescues with PR. A lot of these groups cannot afford to hire me to do their PR. So in an effort to give back, I want to try to do something and maybe do some online tutorials and how to write a press release and that sort of thing. So that's kind of what I have planned on the horizon.
That is great. I mean, then you're using your journalism skills and your public information officer skills and the PR. It's like all coming together to help people. I love that. There might be a dog mom in the audience right now who's going, oh, I just have this great idea, or I want to, launch this business, or I have a product idea. So how can they get more information about your services? What's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on social media, or you can just email me at mary@whiskermedia.com. And I'm always happy to help, no matter if it's an entrepreneur or whether it's, you're a one-person dog rescue. I'm always willing and happy to help you and give you advice, because I want to uplift people. I want, if the more I can support people doing good things for animals, like the better the world will be and a more humane place for animals. And really my goal is the US is so amazing for animals. When you go overseas, it just crushes me to see what's happening, or even like, the other day I was watching the news and you see what's going on in the Middle East, and I saw a correspondent and I saw some stray animals behind him, and that just killed me. I mean, we just need to be nicer to each other, and so 100%. That's what I hope that my company can help make a difference in making the world a better place for animals.
Oh, Mary, I just love your tender heart, your compassion, your generosity, and your desire to give back. It's just awesome to hear and to see. So Mary Tan of Whisker Media, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Thanks so much for watching this Dog Mom News clip. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more awesome and informative Dog Mom News content. And while you're at it, ring the bell so that you can find out about more content in real time. You don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, everyone.